What up? What up? What up? We're here. It's a weekend. The World Cup final is tomorrow. Chelsea played a preseason match. We have stuff to talk about. Um, we're going to talk about the World Cup again. We're going to talk about transfers. We're going to talk about loans. We're going to talk about Chelsea beating Crawley Town 3-1, or Crawley 3-1. We're going to get into it. And I'm going to start with saying, isn't it very weird that both Nizar Kinsella and Kieran Gill get told exactly the same details about the preseason game, including what academy players played when? Exactly identical details. Isn't that just weird? Isn't that odd? That we find out, oh, Omega, Gittins, and Delap scored, and the kids played exactly where they played. Bobby Vincent, too, as well. Yeah, great. We know exactly who scored and when. And, yeah, I mean, isn't that really interesting? It's funny that they all must have caught exactly the same minutes of the game. Isn't that weird? Very, very interesting to me. I'll be very curious to see while we're doing this if more details come out kind of over the next couple hours. But I thought the most fun place to start would be ahaha, please don't look. Please don't open Ornstein. Oh my god, you gotta be fucking kidding me! There's no way! Why? Why? No! Why are we spending 100? No! Come on! You gotta be fucking kidding me! Why are we doing this? No! Why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Oh my god. You gotta be fucking kidding me. I hate this team so much. Why? Why? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Oh my god, I want to die. This has to be a troll. This has to be a troll. This has to be... Somebody has to have hacked my internet and timed this perfectly. This has to be bait. There's simply no way. There's simply... Oh my god. Why the fuck are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Guys, I don't get it. That's so much fucking money. Oh my god. Oh, we are so fucking stupid. Oh my god. Guys, I don't... Guys, I don't... What the... All right, well... I was going to go to, you know what? No. Rodgers doesn't deserve this. We're going to talk about the fucking Crawley friendly, and you're going to hear me talk about Landon Emanalo. He doesn't deserve my time. Oh, fuck. You got to be fucking kidding me. You absolutely have to be fucking kidding me. That is so much money. That is so much money. Oh, and he's probably making... Oh my God, he's probably making fucking 400,000 pounds a week. Oh my God, 117 million pounds. Oh my God. Pano says, wait, what happened? Pano, we just signed Morgan Rodgers for 117 million pounds. Is what happened. Oh my fuck. Oh my God. I'll be right back. Hold on. I can't do this sober, so I brought some Green Spot single pot still, triple distilled Irish whiskey. I can't do it sober. 117 million? Dude, it's 10:30 in the morning and I just poured myself a glass of whiskey. That's what this team makes me do. Oh. I actually hate my life. So let's... How do I... Statford_Bridge Rodgers. Let's just go through my tweets. How do I make Rodgers in it? Rodgers from these accounts. Statford_Bridge. I'm gonna go find the tweet where I said we're gonna buy him for 120 million this summer. Oh, here we go. Great. Morgan, here we go. Can't wait to spend. At least, hey, we saved 13 million. To the sporting directors for saving 13 million. Guys, I just don't understand. No. This, I want to find my tweets. Yep, here we go. I was right. I also don't really know how we even afford this. I don't know what these people are DMing me. Oh my god. I can't do this. Guys. All right, okay. Fuck. I truly don't fucking I don't understand any of this. Where is this money coming from? Where, like, I don't understand. Where is the money coming from? Where is the money coming from? How do we have 117 million? We've now spent 180 million on players this summer on a fucking wingback and Morgan Rogers. Oh my god. Bro, oh my god. Okay, this is like super awkward, but I have to take a work call for 2 seconds. So I'm just going to mute and we'll be back in a minute. But talk amongst yourselves. Have fun. What the fuck are we doing here? Okay. All right. Well. So would you rather spend 117 million on Morgan Rogers or 100 million on Barcola? Like, I just don't really understand. I truly don't get. Also, by the way, 1,000% confirms back three, by the way. 1,000% 343 double tens. Okay. I don't know. What do you guys want? Do you want to go through Rogers stats? Let's go through Rogers stats. You know what? Fine. Maybe my mind will be changed. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's actually a lot more to like. So before we go into anything, before I open any Rogers stats, here is where my impression of the player is right now. Okay? Before I open any stats and we do anything, okay? Take number 1. At the fee, you have to get the best players in the world. You have to get the best players in the world. So, like, at 120 million, the attackers you are getting have to be, like, 2/3 of a goal or assist per game across more than 30 90s a season. Like, you're talking about guys who put up 15 and 15 a year. Rodgers has not been that for his career. Similarly, the one skill that Rodgers does at an elite level is ball carrying through the middle of the pitch. Chelsea do not play a whole lot of teams where the thing you are doing is carrying the ball through the middle of the pitch. So, like, okay, but I don't think that skill set is like tremendously useful for Chelsea. Now, third thing, the dude definitely hits the ball really hard, but if you actually extend to his whole career, we don't have a huge amount of confidence that he's a plus finisher. He's probably an above average finisher, but he's not like Heung-min Son Messi finisher. Okay? He's not very good defensively for an attacker. I think that was very clear from England's performance against Argentina. He is not a super productive passer despite touching the ball a lot. A lot of his like touch the ball and do things is get shots. It's not create stuff for other guys. It's like get the ball for me and then I do things with the ball for me, not for you. And so the problem with this is that Chelsea have a lot of guys who are get the ball for me and do things for me already. And so I wonder about that as a fit. Yeah. Hussein Carr says the last meltdown we had was a João Pedro bomba on stream. Let's hope the same outcome, not lightly. I gave the João Pedro deal like a B, so I don't think I really melted down about that. Maybe I did it in the moment, but I don't think I melted down. This is way worse. Okay. So my take is like really good ball carrier, not that good defensively, probably doesn't get enough good shots for himself to justify the usage, has not put up enough production for the fee, doesn't create enough for how much he touches the ball. Okay, that's the place that I am at now. So we're going to start there, and let's see where we get. So off the rip, if we go to Scout Lab, and I know somebody said there's a new one as well, and we'll go check out that. We'll look at some other things. Okay. So, final product. Let's start there. Also, somebody said Alonso instrumental and then said that sucks. I mean, what does it say? I assume Alonso instrumental is like I don't know. I assume Alonso instrumental is like Rodgers really likes Alonso more than anything. That's kind of my guess on that. By the way, I was going to come with a crazy hot take for what transfer Chelsea should do today, and this blew it out of the water. So, I will not dox this person, but somebody just texted this to me. What is it? What is it on Mac? Somebody just texted this to me. And so this says, hold on, I gotta save image and do. And then this goes up here. I just got texted this by someone, which is quite funny. And yeah, I mean, very excellent. This is City's U19s in or U18s in 2019-2020. So my guess is our next signing will be Oscar Bob or maybe Jaden Braff. We'll bring Jaden Braff out of retirement. DeMargio Wright Phillips. That's a crazy throwback name. Yeah. Dude, I was so excited to talk about Alay Begovic today too. Like I and how he's basically Tyreek George but Bosnian. Like I do wonder. I do wonder. Is there like a real nasty Pluvalenza coming the other way? Like, is Jackson going back the other way for 80 million or something like that? Kadar says, Kieran, you were saying it's smart because there was a little noise about transfers. I wish there was more right now because people could shut up how dumb this is. No, honestly, being so honest, this where there's no buzz about a Rodgers deal and then it happens, even though I think the deal is a bad deal, is definitely better process than whatever we were doing before. Definitely better process than what we were doing before. So I hate the deal, but like, okay, this is better. This is a better way to get there. Tarek George with Bosnian, that's an insane take. No, we're going to talk about that. Anima Namit says, is Jackson supposed to be in training? No, Jackson's not joining until the team goes to Hong Kong or Australia. So Jackson, same with Caicedo. Both of them will not join. So does Rodgers even start for us? Well, he does now, I guess. So, okay, final product. So vape, for those unaware, is like a possession value model. It stands for value added something. It's like a Belgian. It was from a Belgian academic group that kind of does work with Club Brugge. Smart people. It's a pretty run of the mill possession value model. 64th percentile is good, but not great. Certainly not 117 million. Non-penalty goals plus open play assists, 72nd percentile. He ran pretty hot. His XA received, so non-penalty XG plus XA minus XA received, isolates individual output. I don't really care about that. Deep shot involvement, deep zone involvement, deep completions plus carries, sure. There's a lot of ball carrying and big chance involvement, sure. So I think you look at this and it's like, I don't know, fine. Like a fine, interesting player. Chelsea says, I think I just heard Dimitri explode from the other side of London too. The first thing I did was text the group chat that Dimitri and I are in and be like, what are we doing here? Okay. Compared versus top 5 leagues when the Premier League is so much better, seems fairly dumb. But remember, the like, yes, that's true. But I think when you scale across the top 5 leagues, it smooths things and it's fine. So, okay, fine. Final product is like not great. Not enough to justify the fee. Shooting, goals, whatever, this is fine. Non-penalty expected goals on target. So he's something like a plus 10% finisher last season in terms of his post-shot expected goals. So one of the things to be mindful of is when we talk about finishing a lot, we look at goals versus expected goals, right? And so you say, oh, well, you scored 10 goals from 5 expected goals. You are a 200% finisher. But like a huge amount of the goals part is based on the goalkeeping you face. You're not getting, like, you have no control over the goalkeeping you face, right? So if you're like, well, if you score 10 goals from 5 and 5 of those are like P rollers that go through the goalkeeper's legs, like, you're not a plus finisher. You just got very fortunate with goalkeeping. There definitely is a skill component to the the post-shot expected goals portion. So like where you place your shots in the goal. That is definitely a skill thing. The problem is that like players don't take that many shots, and then there's not that many shots on target. So it's quite hard to get really good signal on it. There's a really cool paper by a guy named Delvin Pluler who worked for Toronto FC for a long time that shows actually if you can include off-target shot information. So like if you put a shot 1 inch wide, that's a 0 post shot expected goals. But actually, it's much more indicative of you maybe being a good shooter than if you put it 3 yards inside the post like Enzo did against Pickford. So maybe something there, at least for last season. And we'll go through multiple seasons here. So we'll put that there. Shots. Doesn't take enough shots for what this is supposed to be. Like this is uber mega star attacker numbers. Like you have to be north of 3. Kadar says, I know Devin, great guy. Devin is fabulous. Devin, I really, really like Devin as a guy. If you're a superstar attacker, like you have to be above 3 shots. Like 2.3 is not enough. And now, when we talk about this, I want you to keep in mind that these are all Villa. Villa are weird. Unai plays a very unique style compared to other teams, and we're going to have to talk about how all of these things translate to a very different looking Chelsea teams. Guico says 2.3 shots in the Premier League is probably 4 shots in Liga. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. The number of players that take over 3 shots a game in Liga is like only slightly higher than the number of players that take 3 shots a game in the Premier League. It doesn't scale like that. So not enough shots, not enough big chances, a lot of big shot, like long shots, which is fine. Shot vape. So like how much value are you getting from your shots in addition? That's fine. Whatever. Overperformance, quite high. Again, like if you want the clearest example of like some of this is luck, his 7% expected goals on target is actually 20% in goals, which is like, so put that there. Creation. 75, higher than I expected. Let's see. XA is a little low. XA will definitely come up when you play with Chelsea, because Chelsea are going to dominate much more of the ball in the final third. So like that number will come up. I wouldn't be super worried about that. I also, and really I should just do this at the same time and say like, how is this going to scale with Chelsea stuff? Like really, I think a lot of things will come up. Like one of the things we talked about with Semenyo, right? Like when we talked about the Semenyo deal in January was, I don't love Semenyo's numbers at Bournemouth. I think it is extremely easy to talk yourself into, well, the things Semenyo does will absolutely translate to smaller spaces, but closer to goal more frequently, which is like take way more shots, work the space to get way more shots. Your crosses, your passes are going to be much better situations, all of those things. Like, and I think that was born true that like Semenyo looks pretty good at City. So, Grico says Greenwood 4.23 shots at Marseille. I mean, Mason Greenwood took like 5 shots a game at United, so I don't think that's a great example. He took a huge amount of shots at United. Just to, not to get like all the way off the track, but like, yeah, I mean, he took 3.5 shots a game at United, and then he took 3.5 in Spain, which is exactly the same, and then he took 3.8 at Marseille, and then 4 because he's a better player now. He took 3.5 shots a game at United. I don't know what. Sure, that's a huge amount of shots. So, anyways, putting that aside, I don't know why I'm getting distracted by Mason Greenwood shot numbers. So, like, I think there's actually a pretty reasonable case that some of these Morgan Rogers numbers will come up considerably. Pass and carry vape. A huge amount of this is coming away from his carry numbers. His carry numbers are just bananas. Like, he is an excellent carrier of the ball. He's a big guy. He's very strong. He's quite fast. Like, receive, pocket, drive forward. Totally valuable. And I think when you talk about, and we're going to get to this, when you talk about like double 10 stuff, like actually a very valuable skill to have of like receive in that pocket, turn, and drive into the final third. Super valuable. Like I see why Again, there's nothing in the data that's going to get me to the point of like, this is a good transfer. That's not going to happen. But it's very easy to see why people talk themselves into loving Rodgers and why they're like, yeah, like I get it. I understand. The carry stuff will go down. Same with the X threat carry stuff. XG chain, who cares? It's a bad metric. Deep progressions, again, it is all carry. All carry. Now, the fun part of this is these passing numbers are much better than what I thought. Much better. Like, these are pretty good pass numbers, both in terms of deep pass completions, through ball passes, passing expected threat, and particularly because it includes crosses is fun. These I think are actually, this is much more positive than I anticipated it being. Much nicer. We talked about the shooting and the finishing earlier. Wasa had a really good thing in chat. I don't know how to like highlight a comment on OBS, so if somebody knows how to do that, let me know. I wish I could pop it on the screen, but Wasa said, on record for Rodgers, we have 307 shots for 40 goals on 32.5 XG. For a Poisson probability, that's 88%. So we can't say for sure he's plus, but like he's probably plus as a finisher. And that's everything from England, Villa, and all of his loans. So I think I think the probability is that he is a plus finisher. I think the question now is like, is he a plus 1 or 2 goals a game finisher? Or is he a like a game plus 1 or 2 goals a season finisher? Or is he a plus 5 goals a season finisher? Which is like of interest. But I think the real problem with like, the finishing skill is he doesn't take enough shots and rack up enough XG to like actually juice the finishing numbers so nicely here. Correct. I apologize for texting. I try not to text during streams, but at work we have some guys who work Saturdays and they're doing something they haven't done before. So I just want to make sure that they are safe, and two, that they're have all the information they need to do their thing. So I apologize if I answer text messages and whatever. Yeah, so the thing is, like, I think he is definitely almost certainly a plus finisher, but there's probably not enough magnitude of shots and whatever that like you should really factor that into your math, if that makes sense. But I'm quite pleasantly surprised by these passing numbers. These are better than I was expecting them to be, for sure. Crossing, doesn't really cross. Don't care. His role is not going to be a cross. He's going to be quite narrow. Don't care. Set piece XG, don't care. He's a big boy, actually, which is like quite nice. His aerial duel win percentages aren't that high. Guico says the data seems pretty incredible. Maybe we overreacted. I'm sorry, this is not incredible data. Like 80th percentile pass, like just to give you a like for fun comparison. This is fucking incredible data. Don't talk shit to me about incredible data. This is incredible data. This guy's fat and plays defensive midfield and does this. Don't talk to me about incredible data because you see 75th percentile. Have higher standards for yourself as a human being. This is incredible data. Don't talk about 75th percentile at best Morgan Rodgers incredible data. What are we doing here? How the standards of this team have fallen. That you think that's incredible data. My God. It's fine. And the passing is somewhat better than I expected and probably will come up playing at a better team. No problem. Yeah, the aerial stuff is like not that good. AP says, who's the worst player you would play 117 million, pay 117 million for. That's a really tough question. Let me think about it. Let me stew and I'll come back to it. AP, message me that again in like 15 minutes. And I'll have an answer for you. Receiving to me, super valuable skill. Being able to like get open and get the ball is incredibly valuable. Being able to receive forward passes is incredibly valuable. Being able to like receive in high value locations, particularly close to the goal, incredibly valuable. These will 200% go up at Chelsea. 200% will go up at Chelsea. Like if we look at Mark stats, right? And just like you can't really do the math this way. Like it doesn't work like this as a team. But like if you go by field tilt, like Chelsea have 55% field tilt, Villa have 52% field tilt. So if you say, okay, that's like 7%, if you say it's like 7%, then like all the receiving numbers vaguely go up 7%. So if we call it 10%, just because it's fun, like he's going up to 2 receptions a game. He's going up to 6.5 progressive receptions a game. He's going up to like 0.6 received X threats, so on. So like I expect these will come up. Wassa says, isn't receiving basically a team stat? It is absolutely true that for the most part, receiving is quite well correlated with team ball progression metrics. Yeah, that is quite true. Yeah, so we'll see. Tyree says he could still fail his medical. Fingers crossed. If he we'd still sign him probably. Guico says if he succeeds, how do the comments here survive this? I will very critically say that I don't think he will fail, and I'm going to get there. I will say for myself that very critically I don't think I have not said that I think he will fail. I just think it is so much money, and I don't think he's that good. So, okay. Dribbling, like, he doesn't do a lot of dribbling. This is mostly a Villa thing because they play a lot in semi-transition, and he's in central areas predominantly, so it's not a lot of, like, wide 1v1s to take guys on. Not a thing. He is going to have to do more of this at Chelsea. I do not know what that's going to look like. I would be curious if I looked at, like, the season previous, not Champions League. If I looked at the season previous, like, yeah, these are much better. These are much better dribbling numbers from the seasons previous. And like, yeah, these are much more. So I'm like not really concerned, and that's Ashley Young, so I don't want Ashley Young in there. I think I definitely just broke the app because now it's not gonna let me go back to Morgan Rogers because it's gonna be locked on that season. That's fun. Oh, and I broke it. Everybody's looking at Morgan Rogers data and is doing the same thing as me right now. Let me go find that other one, and we can go find the other one that everybody sent. Here we go. This is the other one. Player print. Let's see if this one works. Morgan Rogers. Apparently Morgan Rogers doesn't exist. Oh, no, there he is. 0.5 XG guaranteed in this league would cost 270. I don't think that's true. Oh my god, I forgot I poured whiskey in that. Oh, wow. Oh, that was not what I was expecting at all. Whew. I was, I was not, I was not, I was not expecting. Whoa, that was very stiff. That was not what I was expecting at all. I completely forgot that I poured like 2 shots of whiskey in that. Sure. All right. My bad. Um, man. Well, that's Moy Gomez, not Morgan Rogers. So we tried, I guess. Morgan. Morgan Rogers. Morgan. Oh, man. I'm going to get banned from YouTube or something. That was, yeah, that was not. Oh, wow. Bora have a 20% sell on. Wow, you've just made, you have made them very rich. Okay. So let's just go through whatever. What else? Let's see what else we got in here. Progression rate, yeah, very progressive player. Like I think the risk profile I quite like actually of him. Um, I quite like the risk profile of like yeah he wants to get the ball and he's pretty relentless about going forward. I think those are valuable players. Like Bruno Fernandes to me is the single most. Um, I think Bruno Fernandes is like the single most underrated player in the league. Um, Felipe Tilkian says, Kier, what's the source of all this data? Probably people that have found an Opta feed and are just scraping an Opta feed. I mean, it says data from Opta, but who knows where they're getting it. Yeah, territory gained. This is fine because it's all around the box, so it's cool. Passes into the box quite high. Through balls quite high. You're pretty happy with all those. Not a lot of crosses, which is fine. Not enough shots created, which is fine. We all talked about this, no problem. And I don't care about pass accuracy because he's it's all very aggressive, right? So that's fine. No. No. Everybody's getting timed out. This is the problem, by the way, with like a lot of these publicly facing apps is they're all just run on the free Streamlit tier, so they just die very quickly. Because if like 20 people are on them, they're cooked. So I might have to like build one for myself, just like a hidden one, and go from there. Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. So we'll come back and look at these things. But I think so. If okay, based on everything we've looked at so far, passing is better than we thought it would be. The shooting stuff is okay. There's not enough shots, but again, some of these things will scale. Like if you bet that it's all going to scale up to Chelsea, that matters. Now, let me go to our old friend McClockbot, which hasn't been updated in a while, but we can look at the old seasons. I would 2000% tune into a stream of you just building your own soccer data. I mean, it would be me just getting Claude to do it. I suck at programming. Morgan Rogers. Doo doo. Na 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 na. Doo doo. Like I think you yeah, I mean it's just there's like the shot quality isn't super high, like it's just nothing about this is saying, bro, like oh, Footy's a shout, actually. Yeah, Footy's a shout. Hold on. Okay, we gotta be I gotta be clever about this. Hold on. Okay. How am I going to do this? How am I? Because Footy is only on mobile. This is a good idea. Actually, I don't know. Let me check and see that they have. Yeah, they only have Rogers' World Cup stuff. No, that's not true. That's not true. Okay, hold on. Uh, hold your horses. Okay. All right. So this is the thing. It's too small. Like you're not gonna be able to. This is my phone right now. So like, you're not gonna be able to like. I don't know. You're not. It's kind of small to see. No. So like, here's where Footy have him as created. It's just too. I think it's too small, and I can't zoom it in. So, like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but there's all his possession value stuff. Like, there's his past sonars, which you can't see. It's too small. OBS zoom in. How do I do that? How do I do an OBS zoom in? Screen record. All right, fine. If you guys say it's fine, it's fine. Display I see FUTMob. I want to plug my friends at Footy though. I wanna show them off. So if I go profile and look, so what do we see in Footy? Again, just like not that high on any given thing. Like the tendencies on it kind of all skew what it looks like, right? Like I don't feel amazing about any of this. Like Footyism is basically dead average. So sure. All right. I'll just go on FUTMob. That's fine. And let's see. But that's this season. Let's see the previous season. I can't. It's just so much money. I can't get there. I do think some of the things he will scale up at. Like I do think he's going to have to do a lot of stuff around the box, and I think that's going to probably be good for his production numbers. But like this is the thing, right? So as much as we can say, I think some of this will scale up and like, no, you're being harsh. The data is better than this. Or this is fun. Let's see what Mark Stats has got for me. I just, as much as we can say, like, yeah, it's going to scale up. And for the fee you're paying, you should only be getting 200% sure things. And like, this is just not that. There's just no world where I can look at this and say it's a sure thing. I can't get there on that. Like as much as some of the data is like better than it was in my head, and there's things that I think scale up to Chelsea pretty well, and some things I think scale worse and whatever, blah 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 blah. Also, this is a funny little chart. Like I just don't see how like this is the guy. I just don't see how this is the guy. Ruben says, who's to say anything scales up? We have over the last 4 years been worse than Villa. I mean, we were definitely better than Villa the last 3 seasons, but the regardless of the points, but on underlying is much better. But also like the types of games we play are a very different shape than the games Villa play. Someone said, what was Enzo's data before he joined Chelsea? And what was Caicedo's data before he joined Chelsea? Let's see. Enzo's data at Benfica, if I recall, was obscene. It was nuts. Des Philly says, who has a better season, Verts or Rogers? So like actually I think the Verts deal is a really good comparison, right? It's the same fee. It's basically the same fee, but Verts had like so much more track record of elite production. Like that makes way more sense if you were going to go get that kind of player, right? Just way more. But you have the problem of like he's small, he's not super athletically talented. He is coming from a foreign league, which like doesn't translate that well to the Premier League. Like there's fair questions to ask about the Verts one, but like he had just way better track record of production. I don't know why that's taking so long. We're back. Morgan Rogers. I don't know. We talked about everything I want to talk about on that. So, man. This is last season at Brighton. Caicedo had like very solid progression numbers, pretty solid creation numbers for a defensive midfielder, and like extremely good defensive numbers is Caicedo. And then Enzo Fernandes. Yeah, like these are a joke. Like he's putting up half a goal, an expected goal a game. Chat is kind of blocking our view of the data. Oh yeah, that sucks. Sorry. It is what it is. But like just obscene ball progression, obscene chance creation, pretty good defensive numbers. Like, yeah. I realize the chat's in the way, but I don't really want to zoom in or zoom out or anything, so it is what it is. You guys can go check this out yourself. But like, yeah, Enzo had bonkers day. Again, Enzo at 130, I was like, yeah, this is fine. Like, you are paying for the best midfielder prospect in the world by a lot. When you got Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, I have no problems with. The Caicedo deal I had qualms about. Like, I had problems with the fee on Caicedo because they like goofed the process, right? Where the fee was 100 million at the beginning of the summer, and then they like were like, no, we want 95, and then they paid 130 because Liverpool came right at the end. That I have a problem with. But oh my god, that's so strong. But the Enzo Fernandez one, I was like, no, objectively, like, yeah, you went and got the best young midfielder in the world, no problem. So, I mean, raw data, just raw data. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Raw data, like I'm just not there. Like I just don't think he's that good. Now, if you ask me, like, what is this actually going to be? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I hope somebody clipped the beginning, by the way. What did Sham say? Did the Kawhi trade happen? Do I have anything to feel good about? Oh, man. Okay. Let's talk about the preseason friendly, and we can talk about, I don't know, what's happening in whatever. I mean, I just... Yeah, I mean... I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know what we say. All right, let's talk about the friendly, and then we can talk about how this is going to happen. Felipe Token says, if Kier looking at Sham's tweet is the way I find out LeBron is going to Miami, I'll flip. It would be so fun if it would be so fun if the if just like news kept happening right now. Oh man. Okay. So, first half, the only confirmed players we have from the friendly are these three. We also know in the second half, we know 8 of 10 outfielders. I don't really care about the goalkeepers. But also, like, okay, so at halftime, this team was up 1-0 at the end of the first half. Gittin scored. Matty Nico Giuzzuli scored, which is cool. Landon Emanala started, also cool. Don't really know, like, who else is here. Don't know. You look at the second set, and you're like, okay, there's a lot of weird players to fit together. So you have, like, Calvin Diakite as a left back. You have Genesis Antwi, who's like a wing back. And then you have Kavuma McQueen and Set Payev. You have Omega and Delap. So, like, I don't even know how this works already. Unless, like, there is a world where it's like this, and Kavuma McQueen is a wingback or something. Like, I could see this structurally, but, like, I don't know. It's hard to say. And you have Reggie Walsh and Reggie Watson, which is, like, just brutal to track. And then we don't know the center backs. What we know is of the players who are available, we know we have Colwill, we know we have Tosin, we know we have Fofana. For sure. And we know we have Josh. We know we have Sar that aren't accounted for. So I don't really know. Wassa says maybe Omega was subbed on for Delap. It's possible, but, like, maybe they both scored in the second half, so they both have to have played in the second half. So, and I would bet nobody played longer than 45 minutes. But maybe, like, Delap played 60 and Omega played 30. It's possible. Or the other way around. Crawley scored in the second half, so I'm going to bet Tosin played in the second half. Also, this is a very young team, so I bet you this was, like, Tosin and Colwill to, like, stabilize them. And then the first half is, like, Josh, Fofana, Sar, or something. I don't know. 3-1 against Crawley doesn't mean anything to me. However, the main thing that I want to take away from this is I could not tell you the last time that this many academy kids got a look in preseason. Like, if we go through all the preseason teams of past years, like, I used to have a spreadsheet, and it's long lost in my Google Sheets, that was preseason minutes only. And like, the number of guys who got minutes in preseason to be sold that preseason was insane. I couldn't tell you the last time we had a preseason where a bunch of kids who definitely weren't being sold, because none of Nico Jazuli, Aminala, Watson, Walsh, Kevin McQueen, Diakite, Antwi are being sold this summer. Setpaev are being sold this summer. So, like, to me, that's so fun that like, those guys are actually getting looks. Like, that's a huge positive to me. We haven't had a preseason like that in forever. So for me, that makes me really, really happy. They play Bromley on Thursday. The Telegraph is saying Igbali directly negotiated the Rogers deal. Price makes sense now. Yeah, that guy's a fucking clown. God damn it. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with this. It's definitely double 10. Doom Scroller says it's only interesting if they're still there match day one or get sent out for promising loans. I mean, I think it can only be either they're going to be with the team or they're not going to be with the club. Like, there's no third option to that. So, like, that means it's interesting no matter what. But I agree. Like, I would be pretty surprised if all these guys were, like, some of these guys are going to go on loan. But I think it's good that they're getting looks now. Like, this matters. Like, I think this is a good thing that they're doing this. So, and again, even if they go on loan, like, this is good. And I would say of this group of guys, like, Nikola Jazuli is too young. He's not going on loan. Setpaev maybe goes on loan. Kavuma Queen maybe, but the rest are probably staying. So, I don't know. It's good to know. Hassan Al-Sheikh says, where does Rogers even fit? I mean, I think the clear spot that Rogers fit is left double 10. I think that's very clearly the spot. Felipe Tilkin says no indication Shim played in the friendly. Shim, I think, probably has a loan deal arranged already. Yeah, I mean, if we were to go through what I think the Chelsea team will be with Rogers, and assuming it's a back three, because I do assume it's going to be back three. What number does Rogers wear? Does he wear 10? Because he's not wearing 10. So if I just like go through, I would bet. I'm just gonna do this. I would bet as of today that the team looks like this. I could have just left them that way. He wears 17 or 27. Malo Gusto, come on down. Goodbye. Sure. Well, 17 is open. Andre's gone. I would bet that it probably looks something like this. I don't even know what numbers these guys were. So we have 2 number 3s. Just deal with it. Like that, probably. Which is insane. Like, this is just like, I don't. So the crazy hot take transfer that I was going to suggest was that Chelsea should do Enzo Fernandez for Rodri. that you should do Enzo to City for like 130 million, and you take Rodri back for like 60 million, which is more than I would pay for Rodri. But 130, like you Pluvalens, Enzo, and Rodri, basically. Um, where like Rodri at 31, multiple knee injuries, late contract, so on, like should be not a huge fee, and you Pluvalens them together. And I think your squad makes infinitely more sense if you do that. I think that becomes very difficult to do when you spend 120 million on Morgan Rogers. I just fucking can't believe that number. Holy shit. Oh, this is this does make this much more funny now. Yeah, Palestra, I don't know. Palestra I completely forgot about. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know how we get there with this team. Yeah, I do think this is like increasingly I do think this is increasingly Enzo goes. Ruben says, is the fee not just kind of the new normal? I mean, if this is the new normal, I don't want to take any part. I just say, yeah, I don't see I don't see how this even works. Adam Reagan says, "Do you think we have a buyer lined up for Enzo?" I mean, I think this is going to assume. I think this is going to assume um, Enzo goes. I don't know where, but I assume this means Enzo goes. Um, Roshan says the amount of clubs that can actually spend 100 million pounds on a player is incredibly small. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like the big six Premier League teams: PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and that's basically it. I would have rather spent 117 million on Yildiz, and I would have been like, that's insane, but at least there's something there. I think this is right. I think this is a really good take from Peter. Inconsistent side, sure. Price is horrific, also true. There are attributes that can translate to a higher side, 100%. Like I think that is the correct place to be on this. Um, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I don't know. If Enzo goes, it's going to be Caicedo plus one of Lavia or Asugo. That's what it's going to be. Felipe says my two questions above. Which striker works better in front of Rogers and Palmer, João Pedro or Jackson? How do you see the time split between the three cams? Who is the third cam? I mean, in terms of what striker fits better, the answer is going to be Jackson, right? Like Jackson just touches the ball less. And now you have two extremely high touch guys, and Jackson runs beyond. And that's like the thing he does. And he defends like his ass off for other people, and he just links and runs beyond. That's the thing he does. I think João Pedro is very good. But I think Jackson is a better fit for what they're doing. But again, I would keep both. Like, if João Pedro goes down, having Jackson there is good, or if Jackson goes down, having João Pedro there is good. Being able to sub two players, being able to sub one really good striker for another really good striker is awesome. Being able to play them both is awesome. Like, and Jackson doesn't cost you a lot to have on your roster. Like, he didn't cost a bunch to buy, and his wages aren't huge. Garnacha might be the guy that goes the other way, says. I don't know. Srirock says, I'm pretty sure Villa are going to buy players off us to help with PSR. You scratch our back, we scratch yours. I don't know. Oh, how do they balance the time between the three cams? I mean, I think that the reality is like Palmer is probably not going to be able to play a huge number of minutes. Like, he's super fit, but also he clearly declines the more games he plays. So like, you just have to be cognizant of that. I also think you can do a lot of like Estevao as the widest player on the right, whether that's as a right winger or as a wing back or as a 10. Like, all those things are fine. I think a really interesting question to ask now is like, what is Barco for this team? Like, what's the deal with that? I think that's definitely a thing to think about. Yeah. Dude, I don't even know, like... I feel like I'm in shock. Like, I feel like I've just been in a car crash or something. Check Absolute Chelsea's page. Aston Villa retain an interest in forward Nico Jackson. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't have an account, so I'm not doing that. I don't care. Was negotiated directly between the owners. Great. I want to shoot. Fuck. I hate these guys so much. They're so dumb. I'm sure they do. He's good. I'm sure they do. Ben Jacobs says Rogers is the left wing starter. I mean, yeah, no shit. But it's going to be 2 10s, and he's going to be the left 10, and we're going to call that player the left wing, the same way Hazard was the left winger for Um, I don't know. Chelsea moved quickly to strike a deal, anticipating a bid from Arsenal. I don't even fucking understand. Oh my god. Anticipating what bid? What bid? I can promise you, Arsenal were not spending 117 million on Morgan Rogers, and if they did, you should have let them. This is Mudryk all over again. Bro, this team stresses me out. I was planning my travel for this year, and I was like, maybe I'll like do an England trip, like not at Christmas time. I'll like go at another time. And then I was like, I don't know. They're too risky. Last year was too chaotic. Like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'll do something else. And I'm like, yes, I made the right call. What happened to Dave Fallows? Thought he was meant to be the grown up in the room, so I'm told. Well, apparently he's not in the room because Bedat Egbali is the room. There's nobody else in the room. It's just Egbali in the room. Bedat Egbali is the whole room. Holden says comparing the signing to Mudryk is completely asinine. No, my comparison to Mudryk is that like Arsenal were in for him. Chelsea bid a significantly higher number than Arsenal would have paid, and the owner and Bedad himself went and did the deal. Like that's the comparison. They're not similar players, but the like mechanics of the deal are very similar. Kadar says I'm going to Istanbul to watch Fenerbahce Beşiktaş. I hope I get to watch Conte again and can get joy from that. That's really cool. That'll be a fun trip. I have a buddy who is thinning on top, and we have joked that when he decides to go to Turkey to get his hair done, we will plan it around one of Fenerbahce, Beşiktaş, Galatasaray playing each other, and that would be a lot of fun. Shaw EJ4 says, "What's the expected FFP hit?" So we can do that pretty easily. Yeah, we can do that pretty easily. So here's how this works. So you have a fee of 117 million. Let me zoom in so you guys can see the numbers easier. So we have a fee of 117 million. Fee 117 million. The contract is 6 years. Right? But you can only divide by 5 because of the new rules. And then you have wages. Let's go see what Aston Villa's wages were. And see what they have as the number. That's definitely not correct after his new contract. Morgan Rogers wages. Bad Rabbit says, can we address that there don't seem to have been any leaks before this? Yeah, I said this at the beginning that like actually it's pretty positive to me that they did this without anybody knowing. Like they just did it. Like that's really cool. So 150 plus 40 in bonuses. So we'll just take the base because of this. So let's just start there. So at Villa, he was at 150. He's definitely making at least 200 per week here. And that's 0.2, which times 52 is 10 million a year. So we start at 10 million a year in wages. Let me just do this so it's easy. $10 million a year in wages. So year one, you're gonna have this number divided by 5 plus this number and it's going to be that. And then in the second year, it's going to be this number. So the first year wage hit is 34 million. For the first million, or the first year amortization hit is 34 million. And then it goes down to 28 because you still have 5 years left on the deal, so it gets re-amortized over 5, which is fine because he's still under contract. And then in year 3, if Chelsea immediately activate the +1, which they can, you then do this minus this minus this divided by 5. And it goes down to 24. And then it's 24 for the remainder of the contract. So that is like pretty comparable to like an Enzo Fernandez size hit. Enzo's is a little bit less because he was before they changed the rules because of us. The other problem with this, as Ruben correctly points out here, is like, don't forget to factor him getting a pay rise after 1 year like everyone does. 200% that if he has a good season in there, he's getting a rise. If Chelsea make the Champions League, I would not be shocked if this went up to like 14 million. Nope, not 134. That would be surprising, but he'll get a raise. So, and there's going to be bonuses attached to that, and like there's going to be so many things in there. I don't know. Chelsea used to wonder if the World Cup attention plays into general lack of leagues. Lots of deals announced out of nowhere across the Premier League compared to other summers. Yeah, it's definitely true. When I was in Houston, there were a lot of, for Canada and Morocco, there were a lot of agents there and a lot of like club executives there. A lot of deals are happening in the US right now where it's like, yeah, I'm with the England squad in New York. You're in New York. Let's go grab dinner. And like, these people are like, nobody knows who, like Paul Winstanley could walk into a restaurant in New York and 0 people would recognize him. Most people in London would not recognize him, but some people would. But so I think these things all happen kind of in their own bubble during the World Cup. That's definitely true. Felipe Tilkin says, have you been following the wildfire smoke and general weather in New York? What do you think FIFA are going to do about this final if it's not playable? They're going to play it. Unless there is ash falling on the pitch, they're going to play it. Also, it's supposedly way better today. But yeah, the wildfire stuff. I've had to deal with a lot of people being like, it's Canada's fault for the wildfires, man. And I'm like, you guys don't know anything about anything. Do you think we're building around someone at this point? Because this doesn't feel like a build around them signing. I mean, I think we're building around Joe Shields. Brother. Remember when like this was my plan? It was such a good plan. It was such a good plan. And it's just gone. Wednesday here in Toronto is insane because the wildfires. Yeah, my mom was sending me pictures and it was nuts. Like it was red. Like where? Let me see if I have the pic. Let me see if I have the pic. Yeah, my mom sent me this from the backyard. Like, you can't even see it. It's just like pure red skies. So, I get it. Patrick Schick says, I remember when you did that team planning sheet you're on now and ended it all saying they will buy Rodgers for $300 million instead. See, I knew. I was right. AP says I've read before a lot of deals and negotiations just happen over WhatsApp. Is that true? Yeah. There's just a lot of texting. There's a lot of texting. Roshan says the Fire's ruined my mini vacation in Stratford. Stratford's really cool, man. The Shakespeare. Did you go and see a play while you were there? It's a lot of fun. Very, very cute little town. Gru682 says, do you think Tuchel can realistically continue as England manager? Do we want to shift to talking about World Cup stuff? Because, like, I'm going to be honest, the place I'm at is the place I'm going to be. He's not that good. He's good. He's just a regular good guy. He's just regular good. He's also, like, not that young. Just to, like, put that into the world. Like, he's 23. Like, if he was 18, and he's about to turn 24. If he was 18 and, like, had just put up these numbers and 3,500 minutes, I'd be like, okay, sure. I can at least talk myself into this, like, 18-year-old, slightly better than league average attacker. It's like, great. All right, cool. He's 24. He's 24. Like, you're getting like 1.5 contracts out of him. Man. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's talk about England. So I will say I am laughing about like a bunch of people are gonna find that video later and just be like, oh my god. Okay, let me go to me and see what I said. Where's the one that I said? Okay, so let's talk about Lord Flagger says Caicedo about to cry himself to sleep after December having to cover all these guys. I will say, like, I don't think Xabi Alonso's dumb. So, like, my eyebrow is raised. If he's actually really into it, then, like, okay, we just have another Tuchel talent ID problem on our hands where he's a really good coach but has really bad talent ID. And that would suck. But my eyebrow is raised. Okay, so I wanted to show so let's just like go England and Argentina. England score 55th minute. First game is like pretty even. No problems. Okay? Like, so if we like watch the video, first half is like pretty even, middle of the pitch, no issues, blah 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 blah. If you look at like XG, if you look at shots, if you look at like field tilt, if you look at all these things, it's basically an even first half. It's pretty cagey, lots of fouls, no problems. England score 55th minute. Okay. Now, a lot of people are going to hammer Tuchel for the line dropping and for the subs and whatever. And the point that I have made very clearly about this is like the line dropping was not a Tuchel call. It's something that happened before he does anything. Here is the time between the goal and the subs. Watch the line. Drop. 10 minutes, the line is gone. You are on the edge of your box. You get to the hydration break at 76 or whatever, or 72. You have two choices. You can either say, "Hey, this is not going the way we need it to go. How can I change this? How can I change this to like really get us out of this funk?" And the answer to that is like, okay, I'll bring one of the wingers maybe on. I'll get some fresh legs. Maybe I'll take Kane off. Maybe I'll get fresh legs for Rice because Rice, like, clearly I think was struggling physically, blah, 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 right? So you have this moment of like, here is the hydration break. We can make a sub here. And you have one side of this, which is like, okay, I can bring on more guys to run to get us out to push the line. But for the most part, the players that you are going to bring on to do that all, in my opinion, significantly weaken your ability to defend if it doesn't work and you have to defend deep. So like you have this option of like, yeah, man, we can bring Madueke on for Gordon, which like I would have been fine with bringing Nani on for Madueke as like, or Nani on for Gordon, because I think like Nani can actually defend. But like you don't really have a great option to bring for Rice. Like Mainu is significantly worse defensively. And you didn't bring Wharton, and we'll talk about like, I think the bigger criticism should be that he picked a shitty squad, which we talked about on stream. Was like, I hated the squad he picked. But if you look at like who is available in that moment, all of the guys who could get you up the field will make you worse if they don't get you up the field. On the flip side of that, you have, okay, well, they have pinned us back and tracked us and really pinned us in. How do we manage this to stabilize and then see what we need to do? And it's like, okay, we take Gordon off for Konsa, and it's 5-3-2, and we will plug the holes and manage 4 on the last line with 5, and you have like a midfield 3 and blah 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 blah. And I think that is a defensible decision. I would have gotten to a different place, even if that was the decision I made, of like, okay, we are going to low block it. This is how I'm going to low block it. I would have done it differently, right? It's like if we go to the tactics board, so off rip, England goes 5-3-2, okay? Bad Rabbit says, just went back and watched the beginning of the stream. Holy shit, my ears. I'm very sorry. I'm sure I was very loud. So England go to 5-3-2 with Jude and Kane as 2 9s, Rogers, Anderson, Rice as a midfield 3, Spence, James, Konsa, Stones, Gehi. That's where they go as the 5. Now, I personally hate low block 5-3-2. Because I think it doesn't do the whole point of the 5-3-2, which is that when the ball goes to wide areas, so if I am Argentina, who are pinning with 4, right? 4 up top. The problem now with 5-3-2 is that the thing that Argentina did, or the thing that England were trying to do, was, hey, we need to block the passes into the 10s, and we need to be able to put pressure on the ball. The problem with this is that because these 3 players are like, oh my God, we cannot give up anything inside, they get really, really narrow. And now you have Jed Spence just getting gangbanged by 2 and 3 players all the time. Like you're not actually getting the benefit of the low block of like, yeah, you have lots of guys in the box, but the box entries are now way easier. To me, the better solution here was you immediately go to 5-4-1. And so that if you are going to low block and you're like, hey, they have whatever, they have 2 players, they have 4 players on the front line, you have 2 to screen players into feet, and they're doing a very clear vertical like screen and jump. It's like one or the other. But also if the ball goes wide, you very clearly have the 2v2. And so if you compare that to how England managed the end of the Mexico game, England finished the game against Mexico in a 5-4. Explicitly to deal with 2v2 in wide areas. And what happens? You have the players are able to get out because they know they always have cover inside, and they're much more able to manage that moment with 10 players. And I think the reality is like you're not getting out. So you need to manage the wide moments much better. The second half of this is all of the subs who came on went into the spots inside the structure where there's not a lot of running. Like you have Konsa came here and you have Byrne came here. You didn't have a sub come for Reece James as fresh legs. The sub that came for Reece James went inside, and then you push somebody else out there. You push Konsa out there. So like the problem now is like not only do you not have like enough guys to manage the wide moments, the guys who are out there are all tired. They're not fresh legs guys. I really liked the Nico O'Reilly sub. I thought the Nico O'Reilly sub was like a phenomenal choice. And if you look at the first like 10 minutes of Nico O'Reilly, it's so good. Like he like wins a tackle here and forces them all the way back to their half. Like it's really, really good. But like it was just like the wrong guys in the wrong spots to do the low block, and it didn't work. But I think my main take is like I don't think it was illogical as one. Like I think it was an entirely defensible position and decision to take. And two, like we can say like you should have just done the opposite, but like the opposite also might not have worked because for a few reasons. One, the team was so dead physically between Azteca, Norway, and then this game. Team was cooked physically. So like even if you're like, yeah, we're going to be aggressive, like the team is just dead. Two, I think there's now like kind of after a couple of days, there's a lot of conversation more from like non-English pundits who are like, yeah, I mean, this is kind of an English thing of like when you're winning in those scary moments, like your reaction is not to keep the ball. Grace Robertson wrote a really excellent newsletter, Grace on Football, about it that I think is really good. Petr Cech had like an interesting line about kind of what he thought of it that I thought was pretty accurate. But like, I think it's kind of both. Like, the coach did a bad job of enacting the low block, and the players crumbled mentally. And they have crumbled mentally, like, pretty repeatedly. I think somebody said, like, Roshan says England also kept Kane on way too long. Kane's maybe England's greatest player, but he isn't the outlet for this situation. The thing that's tough is, like, Kane is also probably your best hold-up forward, so if you have to play out to him, he will scam free kicks and get you out. So, like, Andy's a very good set-piece defender, and, like, all those things, and, like, he's your captain. It's very difficult to make that call. It's just hard. Chris says Tuchel managed to not win Bundesliga with Bayern as lowest win percentage of Bayern managers in, like, the last decade. I mean, his Bayern team had, like, ridiculous underlying. Sometimes you get unlucky in a 15-year period. It is what it is. I think Tuchel's objectively a good coach, but the reason that I wanted to talk about this is someone asked, do I think Tuchel stays on? And I think the answer to that is yes. I think very clearly he will stay on. I think he's a good coach. I think this team will go through a pretty steep overhaul for the Euros. I think there's a lot of guys who are like, I think there were a lot of guys who saw time and were involved because they have been around for a little bit, but there are younger, better players behind them. Like Ezri Konsa will not play at the Euros. I'm quite confident because there's just better guys than him, but he was there in the transitional period. Roshan says, why is England more dead than Argentina? Argentina went very long games against Cabo Verde and Switzerland and had a very intense end to the Egypt game. England should be athletically superior. The Egypt game ends in 90 minutes. The Egypt game ends in 90 minutes, and Cabo Verde and Switzerland, Argentina have like 98% possession. There's no running. They're just keeping it in the box. It's like not the same. It's not the same. They're also like, not to be that guy, but like a lot of those guys are used to that climate. They're fine with it. Where like Harry Kane is struggling in the Miami Heat. So Fabrizio says, Xabi Alonso involved in secret mission. Secret mission. Let's see what this says.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market.
too
Today guys,
loud?
many updates as usual. The big story of Morgan Rogers. We are ready. We have to discuss about so many things, even on a weekend, even before a World Cup final, and we jump into it together. And they started the deal for Morgan Rogers. Arsenal were in very advanced talks with the player. There were meetings between Arsenal and the player representatives, several meetings. The player was also involved in some direct meetings. So Arsenal were going all in terms of contract, and the personal terms were not a problem. Morgan Rogers was open to that. There was...
Barrett says, if Shabby was a key part of this, does that change your position at all? I would have much rather have gotten what's his name, like Granit Xhaka, and to get his thing. I would have much rather done that to like appease him, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Secret mission is fun. Convex CFC says Rodgers had 17 goals and assists for Chelsea last season, or for Villa last season. Do you predict more or less? More or less than 17? I'd probably take the under. I will say one thing that I have forgot to mention, and I keep thinking it, and then I forgot to say it. One of the things that I quite like about Rodgers, though, is he is exceptionally durable. Like, he plays a lot of minutes. Yeah, like playing 36 and 35 90s back to back is awesome. 16 goals and assists in the league, not 17. You're a liar. I would probably take the under, though. But I think that's not a terrible line, right? Like, it's like 0.4, 0.45 per 9. Like, that's an okay line. Add on added time to that, and you're talking... Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good line. I think he'll be pretty close to, like, 15. And, like, hey, when you get the chance to get a 24-year-old who gets you 15 goals and assists in the league, you just got to pay $120 million for it. That's the number. I just don't get it. At what point does the durability of playing all the time fall off and impact things like it did Mount, though, for example? It's a fair point. It's a fair point. But, like, and that's a shitload of 90s. But I would say a big difference is, like, so he's played 170 90s. But that's not right, because a bunch of those are PL2 90s. I also didn't know he was at Bournemouth. So he's got 170 90s minus 22. So let's say he's got 150 90s by 24. Right? Mason Mount had like 150 90s by like 20. Right? Like, so if I take out 20, so I take out 29, I take out 1990s from the first season. And then I take out everything from, well, 24 is his United season. So I take out 30. Like, he's played almost twice as much. Mount played almost twice as much as Rodgers. And that's like with him being broken down, and not twice as much, like 40% more, while being mostly broken in the last 2 years. So I mean, I think it's a fair point. But like, to me, it's a good sign that, like, hey, this guy doesn't have a huge injury history. I'm going to find out now that he actually broke his leg 16 times or something. Yeah, small, nothing major. Like that's I think is okay. How many minutes did Raheem Sterling play by the same age? Saka is less minutes than you think. Club expanded. So to 24, 50, 100, 130, 170, 210, 260, 310. Like that's so many. That's so many. That's a lot. That's a lot of games. I do think also Rodgers is not like, he's fast, but he's not like explosive athlete fast. Like I'm not looking at his hamstrings waiting for them to explode, you know what I mean? Jorge Carrillo says, even if we frame this as 70 million plus Jackson, do you think this is a good deal? If there's an outgoing, it all depends on the number, right? Like Jackson plus 70 means you value Jackson at 47, which I think is low for Jackson. If it's Jackson plus 50, it's less bad. Right? Like, I think it depends what that number is. Like, to me, there's worlds where if you can pack one of the guys you want to get out, I think if there's one of the guys you want to get out, like, it depends. Wassa says you can't plug Valenza like that anymore in Europe. To be fair, they offset the original deal now. Yeah, I mean, you can wait 45 days, which someone in chat very conveniently noted earlier that 45 days from today is explicitly the last day of the window, which is pretty fun. So you never know. And someone also said Bet Igbali negotiate it so that it's exactly 1 million more than Elliot Anderson. I'm sure that is a Villa request, not a Igbali request. Pano Footy says, what about Garnacho? They have historical interest. Yeah, I mean, I think there's lots of guys that like Villa would actually be pretty into taking back the other way. Like Disasi might be interesting. Actually, hold on. Here's a excuse me. This is an interesting question, actually. So, like, they patched Pluvalenzas, but like, let's say we just sold Disasi to them for 20 million. That's a reasonable fee for Disasi. How is that actually like offset? Like, there's no way they would look at those and be like, yeah, they're related party or they're like tied together. I don't think that would make any sense. Somebody said, maybe it was Seb Anderson said this. No, not you. I never know people's ats and I always feel bad. I think he tweeted this. So if I'm wrong, Seb, I'm sorry. Yeah. Here's what I was looking for. So player exchange, 2 or more players transferred in opposite directions where the incoming and outgoing player transfers are included in the same transfer contract. Wassa says it's still offset. Hold on, though. You mean offset as in it is 130 minus 20 in the accounts, or what do you mean? Disasi did have a loan at Villa, Gru. You are correct. Are included in the same transfer contract, are included in different transfer contracts that directly or indirectly are linked to each other or are conditional. involve no or limited monetary disbursements and or have the same or similar payment obligations, deadline dates, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. They run the amortization calculation on 130 minus 20. I mean, that's really that's helpful for us. I'd rather them do that. Well, not really, because the pure profit is more helpful now. We'll see. I don't know. But so how does that work for the amortization calculation for Villa then? Because like if they have, so like let's say it was Jackson plus 60, right? And we call it 120. On their books, is Jackson amortized at 0 then? And Rogers is amortized on ours at 60? Like how does that work? Because that would be weird. Having like they just get Jackson at 0, like that might be okay. So then just sell Jackson to somebody else or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I will say, even after all the like tomfoolery and shenanigans that we have had to deal with so far, I will say I like vaguely trust the finance guys to do the finance things still. I mean, this is a very cute way to he's used raw numbers instead of per 90 numbers because he plays 37.90s a season. Like, yeah, he's not going to play 37.90s at Chelsea. Sorry. We'll see. Villa subreddit is laughing at us, SMH. I'm not surprised. I'd be laughing at us too. Yeah, you could do loan. You could get cute with some loans. I mean, I think you are like so back against the wall now though. With like financially, you are so on the edge with this. You are so on the edge now financially with this. LeBron to Miami odds skyrocketed today for what it's worth. That's fun. Jorge Carrillo says, I would trust the finance guys more if they went on strike until we got a front of shirt. No V lookups are going to find that missing 40 million a year we don't have. Yeah, that's funny. Amadeus says Buati in, Enzo out. I would literally, oh my God. If you thought I crashed out bad for Morgan Rogers, if we spent 120 million on Buati to send Enzo Fernandez to Real Madrid, I would delete my channel. I would never stream again. It would not be worth it to my mental health. I would go on a vision quest into the jungle, into the desert of Nevada, and you would literally never hear from me again. You would literally never hear from me again. If we signed Buati for 100 million and sold Enzo for the same amount to Real Madrid, it would be over. I would walk into the lake wearing concrete jorts. Oh my God. Why does Chelsea buy players from Strasbourg instead of loaning players continuously? That's an interesting point. I think it's like somewhat. I think they'd be mad. I think they'd be mad about that. Because you got to give them money for like stealing their youngins. Chad, I think we're cooked. I think we're cooked. Wassa says can only have 3 players out on loan at one club. I think this person was asking about the other way, Strasbourg players coming to Chelsea. Like, why didn't Chelsea take Omega on loan and Barco on loan? And I think the answer is it would just be unpalatable for Strasbourg to do that. Does Philly Seb always yapping about Palmer release clause? Yeah, Palmer doesn't have a £62 million release clause, for anyone who was wondering about that. Okay, you want to finish with the day one starting 11? Yeah, it's a good point. We're at 2 hours. Let's do a day one starting 11. Okay. I am going to bet the day one Chelsea starting 11. CFC Piss says Garnacho was discussed between Chelsea and Villa, but the players currently prioritizing other options. Roma are going big for him. Yeah, I can see it. Back to Wolves. Yeah, I'm just lazy. I would bet as of today, I would bet it's this. As of today, I would bet this is the starting 11 for Fulham. Because I don't know what the deal is with James physically, but I think they're going to take some time. And like Gusto might be Palestra, right? Like this, whatever. If this is Palestra, I don't care. Sure. If you want to pick him just to pick him, fine. This will be this is what I'd bet. But like, I don't know. Enzo could go. Roshan says, I know this is a general exercise, but genuinely think Shabby will not play Reese for the first couple weeks. I think he will be pretty... Oh, actually, it won't be him because he'll be World Cup tired. It'll be this. I forgot that Enzo Fernandez is playing in the World Cup final tomorrow. This is my bet. We'll see. We'll see. So exciting. Okay, hit me with your last couple questions, and then I will skedaddle out of here and do literally anything else. I can't believe I poured so much whiskey and like nice whiskey into this. Just wait until we bring in Harwood Bellis. I actually really wanted Harwood Bellis last summer. I thought that would be a really good value center back signing. I like Harwood. Like, it's a meme because of the Shields connection, but Harwood Bellis can really pass. Like, he's a super, super passer. Felipe Tilkian, so is Hatta the backup left wing back, or do you think that's Barco? Do you think that's Gittins? I think Palestra will play some left wing back. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I think Hatta will play some. I think we'll play some back four. Roshan says, do you think he starts Kenda over Gittins Netta? Yeah. At left wing back, yes. Predictions for tomorrow. Spain wins 2-0 pretty comfortably. Opinions on the Mallard deal. Melvin Mallard. I think she's very good. And she's like a really nice age profile. And I think she's like a good fit to play with other people as part of the attack, if that makes sense. It would not have been the player that I would have gone for Chelsea, but I think she's good. And so, like, that's fine. Would I sign Osimhen if we sell Jackson? It all depends on the number, right? Lewis Hall overpay anyone? Yeah, I'd be so down. Do I expect any more transfers in this summer? Yeah, 100%. We're going to do way more dumb things. Did I answer worst player I would sign for 117 million? No. Transfer market, all players. Just go to the top of the list. For 117 million. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, 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 no. I would have done 117 million for Verts over Rogers, but I wouldn't have done 117 million for Verts. I would do it for Musiala. No, 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 no. Yes. No, no, no. And there's not going to be any below this. That's a yes, I don't think. So the worst player that I would do for 120 million. Actually, Saliba, I probably would. Yeah, well, maybe not with the back thing. Probably Musiala, I guess, is probably the player. Musiala or Saliba, somewhere around there. Yeah, I don't think anybody else I'm quite getting there. Yeah, I don't think so. But you never know. There might yeah, 120 for Upamecano would be high. Yeah, I think that's probably it. Did you do Ali Begovic talk? No, we didn't, because as we were going to talk about it, Morgan Rogers happened. So my take on my take on Ali Begovic is, I quite like, actually. It's the right shape of gamble. Super hot finishing in Austria, but really small sample. Takes a buttload of shots of quite low quality, but you can coach that. Very high XA, very, very high ball progression number, very active as a presser. The video is pretty good. I think he looks like, if you watch, there's a paper where these people showed, like, if you anonymize match video, you can't tell the difference between Denmark and like Peru or an African team, and that, like, the idea is that, like, basically people are racist. Like, if you have anonymized video, you don't use pace and power to describe African teams any more than you do European teams until you see that they're black. If you did that video with Ali Begovic, you'd be like, this is Tyreek George. They move so similarly. They're both like slightly sub elite athletes. They both like murder the ball with both feet. They both like kind of shift and shoot. Like, they're pretty good at it. There's some pretty fun passing chops in there. Like, I really like it. The fee is 25 million euros plus 5 in add-ons. That's the number apparently that he's going to go to Atalanta for. I would totally do the deal at that number. But now with Rogers, like, the number of slots you have available for dice rolls is gone. But I would totally do that and park him at Strasbourg. 100%. Really, his video is really good. Like, you should go watch it. The Austrian league is what it is. You kind of have to like put it in the same vein in your head as like Conference League, where like think about what Tyreek George looked like in Conference League and then look at him, and they're so similar. So yeah. Waza says, "Is this a bit Vega-y? I missed it." No, I don't know. Chelsea sounds like we're interested, and but it's a considerably higher number. Like, it's almost twice as much. Waza says, does this have this potential to be the worst ever Chelsea transfer? For sure. If he ends up being a 5-5 a season guy, it's like, if he's a 5-5 a season guy, so many people are losing their jobs. Well, I think, but you never know. Kier, do I think that the Enzo punch on Anderson should have been a red card? Yes, I do. Yes, I do think that should have been a red card. What do I think of the Jaylen Brown trade? I don't like Jaylen Brown particularly much, so it is what it is. I don't really get why Boston did it the way they did it. So I don't know. Thumbs up or thumbs down for Curtis Jones? Data looks pretty great. I love Curtis Jones as a player. I think he is so good. Can it really end up being worse than Mudryk? I guess fair, but like Mudryk is like much like half as expensive, and he got suspended. So like the whole year of suspension, Chelsea don't pay any of his wages. The source for the Bosnian guy deal is not a great source, I believe. Yeah, Lord Flacker says, "What if you started the stream knowing Rogers news is about to drop? What if I knew that?" And I planted whoever sent the message saying, go check Ornstein. I planted it. Can Chelsea win trophies with Rodgers as a starter? Sure. Possible. Where's LeBron James going? The Toronto Raptors. How do I feel about Kima Andres or Sangare to back up Enzo if he stays in midfield depth? Yeah, I would... if you didn't have... Isugo and Lavia and like Keanu Dyer, like I'm so curious to see what Xabi Alonso does with Keanu Dyer, because I think Keanu Dyer's frisky. Like there's like I was quite surprised to see that he didn't play today, or like he was not included in the list of names that played today. He's frisky, man. So, but if you didn't have all those guys, I'd be very interested in some of these budget midfield options, like Sangare. Or Manu Kone, who I don't think will be crazy expensive. Who would I rather keep between Enzo and Palmer? Can I decide in 6 months' time? In 6 months' time, I'll have a better answer for you. For now, it's pretty close to a toss-up. So, we'll see. Anyways, we're gonna wrap it there. And yeah, I mean, I didn't think that's what we were going to talk about today. I'll tell you that. This is a great meme. What are they cooking in West London? Unseasoned chicken, potatoes, carrots, and peas. Unseasoned. Yeah, I don't know, guys. See what Piss is saying. Rogers starts. Do we have the lineup? Oh, we do. Henderson, Konsa. What is it? What's the background? Quanta at right back. Konsa. Stone. No Stones. Konsa, Gehi, Spence. Midfield of Rice, Eza, Rashford, and Rogers. And then Rashford, Rogers, Tony, and Saka. Sure. Dude, imagine naming yourself Piss. Like, why do you think he chose that username? Like, do you think it PYS stands for something? Or do you think he just, like, he got home and was like, you know what? I'm Piss. I just don't get it. Do I think the Prem will change the rules for corner kicks or anything to be more similar to the World Cup and not as terrific as last year? Yes, I will say that I have heard that I can't remember what the word is that they use every year. They have like the points of interest for the referees every year that they're going to like convey to the teams, that corners are like going to be talked about, and I suspect they will be refereed much closer to how the World Cup has been refereed. So we'll see. Do I think Stones could do a job for us? Yes, but I wouldn't pay his wages, and we will move on. anyways, my friends, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully England get a fun third place today or something like that. We will see how the World Cup final goes tomorrow. I will say, just for future scheduling notes, you will not see, there will be no pod or stream for at least 2 weeks. Some family are visiting me here, and as you can see behind me, this is my guest room. So I'm not going to record a podcast while my family are sleeping in this room. So nothing for the next 2 weeks. I might do like a very short podcast during preseason or something like that, but I'd be surprised if you heard from me for the next 2 weeks. So, as always, enjoy the soccer. Morgan Rogers is